Hello everyone, my name is Liu Kun. You can call me Kun. Today, me and my group mate Chen Rong and Yuki Akiyama will give you a presentation to introduce our group project plan. Our research question is, how can international master students, particularly those from East Asia, mitigate feelings of loneliness throughout the academic year? To be more specific, we will focus on master students at SOAS. Our presentation includes 8 parts. I will take the background and method. Rong will illustrate the positionality, limitations, and potential ethical risks. Last but not least, Yuki will introduce the validity, conclusion, and bibliography. Okay, let's start with background, or why we choose this as our research question. From a broader perspective, it is evident that connections around the world are becoming intensifying due to the increasing degree of globalization, and the mobility of population is also gradually increasing. At the same time, a noticeable tendency emerges where international students, especially within higher education systems, are progressively becoming a larger proportion globally. Taking the United Kingdom as an example, it is notable that East Asian students, particularly those from China, occupy a significant proportion of the international student body. This tendency is supported by the materials from the British Council and China International Student Statistics. On the other hand, there is a growing global emphasis on mental health. Common psychological stresses and challenges are no longer considered normal. International students move from familiar environments to foreign lands, many of whom arrived in completely unfamiliar linguistic environments, adding more diverse and complex stresses. According to the study by Milner, even domestic students easily suffer from loneliness. Apart from the academic stress, international students even encounter a tougher situation, since they will face compounded cultural, linguistic, and lifestyle stresses, and are even easier to experience loneliness. Additionally, as highlighted by this article, loneliness itself can be a significant reason to psychological issues. Therefore, we hope to understand the loneliness experienced by international students and explore coping strategies before leading to more serious issues. Furthermore, choosing full-time master students in higher education as our primary research group is because full-time master programs typically have the shortest duration among higher education systems worldwide. This implies that master students face shorter adjusted periods and are exposed to more variable environments. The choice of SOAS stems partly from our positionality. Rong will illustrate more later, and partly because, compared to other universities, SOAS offers greater international diversity with a smaller overall student population. Such a research focus facilitates our study within the constraint of time. That's all for the background. Then I will outline how we plan to implement our project. Our research will start with an explorative phase, then move to explanatory research. The first year will primarily focus on literature review and research preparation, and the second year will involve field work and analysis. And the third year will primarily consist of analysis, writing up, or producing other forms of research output. This timeline aligns with the fact that our research participants will mainly consist of SOAS taught master students, whose programs typically last for around 1 year. Apart from master students, other important groups such as teachers, relevant professionals, graduates, and undergraduates planning to pursue master education will also be taken into consideration. Our research locations will primarily include campus and places where participants frequently go. This project will employ an inductive qualitative approach and integrate 4 research methods, mainly text-based research, questionnaire, interview, participant observations, and others. Analysis and observation will be utilized throughout the whole research process. analysis involves not only analysis about any kind of text, but also other resources like images, sound, or video. Furthermore, observations for flexibility is crucial even the participants are absent. The questionnaire will mainly be used in the preparation stage. The questionnaire design will make a simple version, include basic information, subjective questions, and objective questions. We aim to distribute the questionnaire as widely as possible to gather research materials. The main purpose is to generate ideas for explanatory research and identify more precise and worthwhile research questions. Interviews will also be used as a supplementary method during this period. Also, interviewers and participants' observation are the two most important research methods in the fieldwork. We hope to find a taught master student whose study schedule aligns with our research time for participants' observation. Moreover, we will conduct in-depth and thematic interviews with not only this participant, but also other research subjects to gain a deeper, nuanced, comprehensive, and dynamic understanding of the research questions. Furthermore, our research may involve other methods such as mental mapping for visualizing the impact of multiple locations or urban planning, historical transformation for understanding from a historical perspective, or negative method for studying silent evidence or the absence itself, and so on. These are the research methods we plan to employ. Then, Rong will discuss the positionality, limitations, and potential ethic risks. Thank you.
Thank my partner Kun for her amazing introduction to our proposal. I'm Zhong Chen, the second member of our group. Next, I will introduce positionality, limitations, and ethical risks our research proposal contains. Let's start from positionality. The three members of our group are all East Asian women. The first member, Kun, who's from mainland China, she's 26 years old, outgoing and lively. She has 1.5 years of bank work experience. Most of the social connections she has comes from her school and workplace. The second member, who's me. I'm 30 years old, also from mainland China. I have 7 years work experience, and I have been active in the feminist community, which has given me a lot of support outside of mainstream relationships, such as family, classmates, colleagues, and so on. It has supported me to counteract some of the mainstream values in mainland China, such as women should get married, have children, and contribute more on domestic labor. The last member, Yuki, who comes from Japan, she's 34 years old and has more social experience than Kun and I. She has been working as a reporter for more than 12 years in Japan. She can be open to diverse values and deal with strangers professionally. So, in a way, we were all good at socializing in our previous environments, or at least never felt lonely because of our social difficulties, but we feel more loneliness in studying abroad. That's why we want to take the research. And we are aware of that we cannot be representative of the East Asian master students as a group. To place too many emphasis on our own experience or to make assumptions from them would make the study limiting. But we believe that the different backgrounds of us and our different perspectives on social relationships will yield valuable insights. And that's what we want to talk about positionality. Let's move to limitations part. Based on Creswell's book, Research Design, Qualitative, Quantitative, and Mixed Methods Approaches, it is evident that qualitative research focuses on smaller units of research compared to quantitative research. It is commonly perceived as lacking generality, being susceptible to researcher bias, lacking rigorous causal relationships, and lacking high validity in making precise comparisons across populations. And specifically for this study, we list 5 potential limitations we might encounter in the application of different methods. The first one is influence by researchers. As East Asian students, our identities may lead us to stereotypes and preconceptions. For example, A different cultural background from the so-called West makes it more difficult for East Asian students to integrate into British society than European, African, or Middle Eastern students. Or a different political system makes it more difficult for students from mainland China to build a community as they lack experience of self-organization in civil society. These assumptions may influence the design of questionnaires, interviews, and content analysis, so we must be aware of that. Our own identities and experiences may limit our research. The second is resource intensive. Having an excess of research materials may lead to weak correlations, making it challenging to differentiate between important and unimportant studies. Moreover, the collection and processing of resources for qualitative research depend heavily on the abilities of the researchers. Even within the same topic, different researchers have varying strengths. The third one is theory and reality integration. During research, researchers aim to identify the connections between theory and reality. Sometimes there is an excessive eagerness to establish these connections, which may lead to incorrectly establishing correlations or exaggerating their significance. The fourth limitation is time-consuming. Longer periods of fieldwork often result in more extensive and profound data for qualitative research. Likewise, researchers often desire more time for literature analysis, interviews, and observations to accurately depict the complexity, diversity, and dynamics of reality. This not only leads to a tendency to invest more time than initially planned, but also to an overemphasis on details during the research process. The fifth, and also the last one, is influence of other factors. Besides researchers and participants, many other factors can affect the discussion of research topics. Unlike broader studies that can mitigate the influence of these factors, the sample size of this study may be susceptible to their impact. That is all we want to talk about limitations. Next, which is also my last part, is potential ethical risk. We need to be careful because we can sometimes unintentionally and potentially cause ethical issues. For example, knowledge of diversion to terrorism, the presence of gatekeepers, and whether money is being exchanged should be checked carefully during the research, and so as to avoid the problems. Security-sensitive research involving information or materials that could be subject to national security restrictions, which includes all terrorism-related research, and participant-sensitive research involving potentially vulnerable participant groups, including but not limited to children, individuals lacking mental capacity, and so on, whether in the UK or overseas, must be automatically referred to the research ethics panel for review. Thank you for listening to me talking about these. Next will be our last member, Yuki, to introduce validity and make a conclusion of the proposal.
In the next part, Yuki explains validity. Here, we are considering the limitations of this research and the qualitative research methods. We see the methodologies suggested by Creswell, 2000, and use the following strategies to enhance the validity of the research. The first one is triangulation. Our research proposal aims to utilize a variety of qualitative research methods, diverse perspectives, and a broad spectrum of participants to enrich the diversity of evidence and narratives. This approach ensures that qualitative research findings are not only dependent on a single narrative. By integrating data from various sources, theories, and methodologies, we not only enhance the clarity of our research framework, but also facilitate mutual validity within the narratives of qualitative research. The next one describes reflectivity and critical thinking. Each individual involved in the research process will remain a reflection of their positionalities and critical thinking. The group will regularly discuss to identify and address these instances where positionality may influence the validity of the research. And if the group encounters a contrasting viewpoint or negative evidence, in such cases, the group will make effort to understand this evidence and narrative further to better grasp the research theme. And member checking and peer debriefing also important. In this group's research, the members will have some tasks and regularly engage in mutual inspection and discussion of both raw and analyzed data beyond their individual responsibilities. This can make the mutual supervision and support within the group. Also, seeking feedback from peers or experts in the field on data and the research process is a variable option. This not only enhances validity, but also encourage further progress in the research through review and critical engagement. The next one is the audit trail. This research will seek institutional sponsorship and may involve supervision from mentors. Checking the research documents for coherence, authenticity, and reliability can greatly enhance this study effectively. And the prolonged engagement in the field is, as Creswell mentioned, 2003, emphasizes the importance of sustained involvement and interaction with participants for a long time. This involves living alongside them, making connections, and immersing oneself in the research process. Such engagement is deeper, more nuanced, and diverse understanding of subject matter, resulting in rich and profound qualitative data. So our study aims to dedicate at least one academic year to fieldwork to facilitate this comprehensive exploration. Last one is seek rich description. It is important to consider the audience and preserve relevant records and data appropriately. And within qualitative research, credibility is established through the lens readers from the narrative account and transported into a setting or situation. Crafting a writing with detailed, practical descriptions provides readers with abundant, vivid, and easily comprehensive details, all of which help convey the validity of the research. Conclusion. Our group consisted of 2 international students from mainland China and 1 from Japan. The topic of loneliness among international students from East Asia is something natural we have felt from our life and study experiences. A 1-year postgraduate program is short and content-rich, and as an international student away from home, mental well-being is often a concern when we suffer from the pressure of studying. We also felt invisibility of East Asian students in UK society. Our group is so large, but seems to have very little voice, particularly in SOAS. So it makes the challenges we face harder to address. This is issue that we are experiencing, so we decided to look into it. Also, we encouraged and supported each other in completing this assignment, and the division of labors made it less stressful. And the timely responses and the affirmation lessened our loneliness. In general, it was a very enjoyable experience. And thank you, my partners. And thanks to the course. Last one is bibliography. Thank you for listening.